Ricochet's new Twitter Ricky gimmick has done more harm than good to his public persona. He's reinvented himself as a Twitter troll, but in reality, he's a punching bag. Trigger Ricky spends much of his free time these days sitting on a social media dunk tank, and just about everybody who claps back at him hits that red button like clockwork, including yours truly. One of Ricochet's most notable Twitter feuds was with Javon Evans, who promptly fired back at Ricochet in a diabolical tweet that eviscerated both Twitter Ricky and Tony Twitterfingers, Ricochet's digital idol. Like most cases of a young black man standing up to authority, a lot of colonizers are finger-waving at Javon Evans, telling him to stay in his lane and not burn any bridges. Hilarious. Today, we're going to talk about how Ricochet has used his social media to become just as relevant in your comment section as he is irrelevant in the TV ratings, how Tony Twitterfingers continues to empower AEW talent to say whatever they want on Twitter without fear of authority because Tony Khan has none, and why anybody who believes Javon Evans burned a bridge with AEW is a complete fucking idiot. Respectfully, subscribe and kissy. Ricochet is, well, let's just say viral, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially in a business built on getting over. Popularity is currency in pro wrestling, and getting over means strong crowd reactions, merch flying off the shelves, countless fan signs in your honor, and every time you're on television or pay-per-view, attendance, ratings, and buy rates go up. Only a handful of wrestlers in AEW are over, but it's an extremely small ratio compared to the rest of the roster, most of which is or will be benched indefinitely regardless of their talent or whether or not they were over to begin with. Tony Khan is weird like that. Ricochet is over on Twitter, but any wrestler who appears on national television can build a huge following on Twitter. But Ricochet has decided to take his Twitter popularity to the next level and wild the fuck out. Some tweets are tongue-in-cheek. Others are legitimate crash-outs. He even goes at me from time to time. And every time he takes a bite of Twitter beef, he chokes worse than a jaguar eating a crocodile. I know what he's going for. Ricochet's strategy is to blur the lines as a heel and rile up Twitter so people can hate him in real life. But in real life, people couldn't care less. The sickos and one African genius that Ricochet interacts with already watch AEW. By investing time engaging in the AEW bubble, Ricochet is basically eating already digested food. The same way a baby bird survives on its mother's puke. Can you tell I've been watching animal documentaries? Ricochet isn't creating new viewers by rolling around in the filth of social media. He's just inflaming or alienating current viewers. Sure, it creates dirt sheet headlines and Reddit karma, but in real life, Ricochet's segments on Dynamite in 2025 have lost a net 655,000 viewers and 148,000 in 18 to 49. Every Ricochet quarter hour averages a loss of 25,000 total viewers and 11,000 in 18 to 49. Twitter Ricky is a lot of fun, but social media or not, Ricochet is not a draw. Ricochet responded to my well-researched analysis of his weak drawing power by saying, quote, "This just tells me that I am the main character on one of the top 3 highest rated shows on @TBS Network and weekly," end quote. This man tagged the whole entire network in a tweet pointing out how many viewers he's lost this year. Is it any coincidence he was hidden in a backstage segment the Dynamite after? Ricochet has never met a Twitter beef he didn't lose, and this time he played himself. Bitter Ricky says he's getting a stable, so hopefully that includes somebody who can talk for him and make him interesting, because Solo Rico just isn't working. Javon Evans is a YN. Not just any YN. That's my YN right there. He represents an ethos of young black men with no fucks to give and are ready and willing to get wicked if you even accidentally step on their patent leather Jordan 11s. YN Javon has taken on a life of its own on Twitter. Unlike Ricochet, who forces his gimmick on bots and sickos online, wrestling fans celebrate the young OG YN with Javon Evans mentality videos.
What's your point here, mate? Talk.
You raising your voice, y'all trying to get wicked, bro?
Let's get big.
I'm straight out of the suburbs, so I live vicariously through Javon. Shit, me and my little niggas might slide on Bix in whatever Brooklyn sewer he's hiding in and spank something right now. Walnut Park and eat beach. No, JK, I'm not like that. But Javon Evans is. He perfectly captures the young, black, reckless energy of a melanated generation while still staying in character. By no means am I saying that this is how all black people should be represented on WWE TV, but that's the beauty of Africa NXT and the modern day WWE product. This is all I've been asking for, dated back to my goated all elite white people video. The young OGYN Javon Evans exists in a universe that also has college-educated super athletes like Obafemi, West Africa Nahoso, suburban prom queen Kalani Jordan, the Southern hospitality of Trick Williams, Jada Parker, who could star in the Set It Off reboot just as fast as she could be the lead in Hidden Figures 2, and Sol Ruka, who's a little bit of everything. As long as there's a spectrum of blackness where black people from all around the world can relate to a handful of characters, a YN is the black cherry on top of this chocolate sundae. Javon Evans does not need to crash out on Twitter to be relevant. His character crashes out in real life. He's one of the youngest wrestlers in all of national TV and in a very dangerous genre, so he has to be tough not only to prove himself, but to survive. The Javon Evans character has been known to insert himself in confrontations that aren't his business and swing on a ninja at a moment's notice.
Don't do it, kid. Don't do it.
Hey, how about you try to own me?
Own you.
How about you?
He's a living, breathing example of how you can't tell people how to react. And that's exactly what Ricochet learned when he tried Javon Evans on Twitter, telling Javon Evans, again, tongue-in-cheek, that he'd squash him. The young OGYN didn't like that. You learned from HBK when I was 12 and became a multiple-time champion. Now you're wrestling in front of 2,000 people every week for a crackhead. Ooh, them crackers didn't like that. If there's anything that aging whites like less than a prostate check, it's young black men challenging authority. The stepping out of line energy went crazy after this tweet. A lot of these Yakubians claim Javon Evans burned a bridge by going after Ricochet's boss. What? Do you harmless honkies not know how pro wrestling works? Bridge? What bridge? The beauty of pro wrestling is there's no such thing as a bridge. Pro wrestling is a talent business. If you can draw and transcend and wrestle and get over, fuck the bridge. You could be like CM Punk, badmouth Tony Khan and AEW to his face and walk through the fire of that bridge you burned with WWE to be a top star in Stamford all over again. Don't let them crackers tell you Javon burned anybody's bridge. I seen CM Punk bury AEW right next to Tony Khan at a presser. Punk kept his job and got his own show. Javon will be a superstar in this business. Tweeting the obvious about a Nepo crack baby won't change a damn thing. Pro wrestling is a business built on burned bridges. The biggest podcaster in the industry, Jim Cornette, never met a bridge he didn't burn. Bobby Lashley fell out with top brass Michael P.S. Hayes, and he returned to WWE as a bigger star and a two-time world champion. Bridges in pro wrestling are about as real as pro wrestling. Javon Evans calling Tony Khan a crackhead was hilarious. It wasn't the first time a high-profile figure in combat sports suggested Tony Khan was on drugs, and it won't be the last.
Ariel Helwani is like the star of stars to them, because that snowman quote is, they're back there just celebrating that one. You know,
Kevin Nash, who burned a bridge with WWE to join the NWO, only to return to WWE, pushed back against Tony Khan crackhead claims. In fact, Diesel thinks it's something else.
Number one, he's autistic, man. You got to give the guy a little bit of slack. I mean, I'm serious. I had an autistic kid.
Twitter has never been a positive place for AEW and its talent. Tony Khan grew up on message boards, but he has the social skills of a skinless cat, and some would even say he's
autistic.
Tony's tweet about Big Swole still reads like nails on a chalkboard, but instead of learning from the mistakes of their Twitter-happy boss, AEW stars like Ricochet feel empowered to tweet their gimmick to the masses, despite being horrible at it. Drew McIntyre is great on Twitter. Naomi's next level. But the thing about Naomi and Drew is they have great real-life gimmicks that are over to actual people. So their social media is a complement to that. They don't spend too much time interacting with fans in the comments. They post well-thought-out videos and memes and let the massive engagement speak for itself. This is what I'm trying to teach Ricochet through my own beef with the little guy. You think I have time to sit on my laptop like a friendless Nepo baby and read and respond to every negative tweet about me? bump that. If I'm gonna wage a social media war, you're getting this talent, not these tweets. I'm gonna crack jokes, make content, and most importantly, make money. While Ricochet is crashing out with brainless tweets, I'm posting sketches, Ricochet impressions, memes, infographics, conducting polls of which bald wrestlers cut a better promo than Ricochet, making shorts about Ricochet. By the time you're reading this, there's a whole roast about Ricochet. I don't take any of this personally. I'm just trying to show Trigger Ricky all the fun and creative ways you can destroy your ops on South African Twitter, outside of lazy quote tweets. Here's to Ricochet taking my advice before being fed to Darby Allin this summer. Check out this video and subscribe. What's your favorite Javon Evans YN moment? Tell me in the comments!